episode is sponsored by Raise Tech, end-to-end IT solutions for your business growth.
Hello, everyone. This is on the Agile Couch, the podcast, already fourth season. Today with you, it's me, Andres Dagutis, and I have a lovely guest, Sonia. Hello, Sonia.
Hello, Andres. Thank you so much for the invitation.
It was so nice that you actually agreed on that. When I heard about the topic which we could discuss, I was like, we need to discuss all this. People, I love the success stories, love the good stories with an personal experience. So that's what I'm really glad that today we can talk. But first, maybe you can introduce yourself for the people who don't know you.
Of course. Thank you. So my name is Sonia. I'm Portuguese, born and raised and always living in Portugal. And I'm a product owner for a company that is doing, so it's a joint venture between CTW and BMW. So I'm doing software for cars, which is amazing. My background is software engineering, mathematics, specialized in computer science, and I started working at software since 2006. First as developer, then became a Scrum Master, Agile coach, and now I'm more on the business side, the dark side, as I always like to joke about it. So this was my professional path that my journey, which I love, and I had the luck to start working with Scrum already in 2007. So and it was kind of haha moment of yes, that's it. That's how we actually should do software. So that's it. I have two children. And I'm based in Lisbon, but born in a more north part of the country, so I prefer bad weather on the opposite to Lisbon, sunny days as always. But yes, that's me.
Cool. Thank you. And as you already mentioned, again, you from 2006 you started as a developer, Scrum Master, now PO. You had a journey, and that's where we kind of thought about the idea, okay, let's just share. And our today's topic is from newbie Scrum Master to a mentor, organizer of the big successful events and stuff like that. So this is today's topic. So it's a again journey from your side, which you will share with our listeners. So that's really nice because, as I mentioned before, I like those success stories to people because even I guess you. Those more younger or new people who just started to join the Scrum Master or Agile area, mindset. They saying, okay, so what I can do? What's my future? Where can They don't know because like in developer there are different programming languages and stuff like that. But what will happen? What's my future if I will join the Scrum Master and stuff like that? So that's why I love when people sharing the journeys, how they went from what they had to fight, what they had to learn, and now where they are. And you already mentioned that you started your career in IT from 2006 as a developer.
Yes, as a developer, yes. Java, especially backend, scripting, Python, Perl, all that, even all probably languages that are not even used anymore in use.
Okay, yes. and then only 2007 you mentioned that you started with a Scrum. So at the beginning it was a waterfallish or just random ways of working, and then is it maybe you or from which was the point where we need to do maybe Scrumish or whatever? Maybe remember.
I remember I was very lucky to be in the right place in the right time. So when I started working at Siemens as a developer, Siemens was a very hard waterfall company doing software. I remember the old days of having at least 3 to 4 months just for the document how things should be implemented, and we start implementing, and then in the end, of course, the testing phase was just a nightmare. So I remember that, and I remember that's why I think that when I did my first Scrum trainings at the company, actually it was the lucky part was that Nokia and Siemens had that joint venture, and Nokia was already bringing that way of working completely different. And that was the aha moment. That's where I realized, okay, this is how software actually should be done, incrementally, by discovering, by testing all over since the beginning and not at the end. And it really changed my way of thinking in terms of how can we better think and plan things, not plan ahead in a year, but plan in a more focus of what we are actually doing now, and be able to test and implement at the same time. And this was the first. And the second aha moment was the Scrum as a team. So we developers stopped thinking about us as individual person contributing to a big project, and became a unit, become a Scrum, right? Scrum is that unit that all along together contributes to, and there's no such thing as a more important person in a Scrum team. There's no such thing. We stop to be individuals, and we start thinking as a Scrum, where everybody contributes in the same way, and we respond as a unit. So this was a very aha moments for starting Scrum. And because I was very lucky to be in the right place in the right time. At Nokia at that time, Craig Lerman was and Basvod was starting their first experiments with less, scaling Scrum in big corps. And I was very lucky to be to have the Scrum training at the time with Craig Lerman, and then try step by step. For example, in the beginning, I was not 100% doing my Scrum Mastering role. I was, for example, supporting as a Scrum Master in a proof of concept project, for example, or a small team of 3. Actually, it was remote team. I was here, and my colleagues was in Düsseldorf in Germany, and it was the first time that I was, playing around with the more tasks related with Scrum. This gave me a very good balance between understanding the big difference between technical part of the team, but more team and person and people focus. And that's the key of a Scrum Master role. Scrum Master role part and crucial part is people.
Oh yeah.
And one thing that I learned since these many years of software engineering business is that there's no such thing as a big technical problems. Nothing. There's nothing that very nice people with very nice knowledge and knowing the best and technologies, they could always overcome technical things. The problem is always people, how people interact, how people communicate, how people can bring together their awesomeness and produce awesome work, because that's what we're talking about. And since all this journey was a discovery of, oh, actually, this is not a technical problem. This always that guy, it's he's in a bad shape today because he had a problem with his children back home, or someone died, or someone gets sick, or whatever. So there's always people problem involved, and that's the most powerful lesson that I learned since these many years. So back again to my newbie experience was this. So I was software developer doing some Scrum Mastering role, kind of a part-time learning. And this part is very important to incorporate the Scrum patterns, incorporate why the daily is so important, why the retrospective is so important, why the Scrum framework, and when we practice, we understand why, right? And that's the first step, I would say.
And maybe you remember, what was hardest to shift or change, or I don't know, to adopt from the this new way of working of the Scrum Agile from the old ways, or everything was quite, or I guess, but you even mentioned that was the right time for you, because there was all the transformation. You even was involved in the experimenting, the scale up straight away, maybe even. But maybe there was something which was the hardest for you.
For me, it was, again, incorporate this mindset that we learn in the way that we stop being individuals that are focused on our own work, and start prioritizing what is the best to the team at that time. Even if sometimes you need to stop your work, stop your own task, probably don't deliver your work because there's another task there that is jeopardizing the sprint goal, that it's more important than your own task. And this is a kind of, ego. It's also our ego. We need to drop down our ego and say, hey, there's more important things than yourself, like your tasks, what you are doing. You are not a hero. And I believe that this was, and usually it's the more painful moment of a Scrum team, is to become actually a Scrum team and not a group of people doing things individually. Yeah.
And I'm curious, like, again, the people say, okay, look, now I'm become Scrum Master, maybe the certification or whatever. Where did you gather your like main source of knowledge? What was the main source of knowledge? It was, again, I don't know, that meetups, conference, or maybe just your work surrounding area with good people, which you can develop yourself.
In the beginning, and not only the beginning, but for me individually, my experience in the beginning and through my entire career, where I was on companies trying to, bring Scrum, bring the agile way of thinking and working. For me, in the beginning, especially, it's very important to have people with already very good experience. For example, agile coaches. For me, I had an agile coach that was really a mentor that brought me, for example, for the Agile in Europe, that became also one of the biggest moments for me every year, where I get together with people with so many new ideas, different ways of thinking, different ways, and so many. I remember that on the first Agile in Europe in 2011 in Berlin, I remember that I still have the agenda. Actually, it was on paper. Exactly. I remember that there was an agenda in print, and there was already someone presenting the sociocracy in 2011. So it was really amazing how things, when we get together, people with so many different backgrounds and knowledge, the amount of things and knowledge that we can start incorporating and finding. So for me, the best way, so my big fonts of information and development was for sure someone to be a mentor, a more experienced, and in these cases, usually the agile coaches are a very crucial role in a company that is just starting their first steps. So a person that other people with less experience can rely on first, and second, of course, the communities. It does not have to be international community, it can be local communities, but communities where lots of agile practitioners with different backgrounds, even different roles and experience, Scrum Masters, product owners, even developers that like and like to share their way of working on kind of different aspects of the Scrum, because it's the Scrum should be also supported with techniques as DevOps and test automation and so on. So you get actually in the shape of every single Scrum, every single sprint, the Scrum team is able to actually produce something into production, and to sustain that, there's lots of things on the technical side that is actually also important. And equally important, not only the spirit, but also the techniques that sustain that. So I guess that would be my two parts of and big fonts of continuously. Our journey of learning would be for sure Agile culture and mentor. I mean, the name doesn't matter, but it means that you need for sure a person with experience that guides you, and communities, strong communities of sharing knowledge and sharing different experience and techniques for sure.
And I totally agree with you. Personally, myself, I really boost my knowledge when we actually created a community inside the company. We had a bigger company, and it was not one or two person. There was more than 20, and when we have that many Scrum Master, or the ones which actually trying to find a better ways of working, and you join together, you discuss the challenges, the success stories, that's really, really boosting yourself and others surrounding by you. So I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, you already like a web developer, now Scrum Master. What's next? What's the next big thing or hurrah or moment? What's done?
So the last 5 years that I was there in Nokia, and let me just do the disclaimer: Nokia is still alive. Nokia survived. It was actually there's a book there's a book about that, about how Nokia actually survived. They have a very nice history, more than 100 years. They started with boots, I believe. So they changed a lot, different businesses along their history, and they actually survived with the networks, the Nokia networks, where I was there actually, and I was there at that time when we started Scrum and Agile way of working, and I was there until 2018. So I was 12 years on this big company with lots of transformations. 5 years, the last 5 years, I was completely 100% becoming and assuming my Scrum Master role. I was very, very close to the technical tasks, but I was not doing technical tasks anymore, or at least sometimes I remember some tiny little, bug defects correction, because I know how to do it, but usually I was not doing. So that was not my purpose. I was actually doing my Scrum Master 100% dedicated role. And then it was just, it's how our life happens. I just was 5 years already doing the same, and I was like, what's there for me? And I didn't find a path to grow anymore on that company. I was very happy there. It was one of my favorite company to work so far until today. But it was my path there. So I started looking around new opportunities, and I found that Portugal at that time was actually looking for many Scrum Masters, Agile coaches all over the place. So I had the opportunity to go to an energy utility company where they were doing these big transformations of, hey, we need to get back on track on software because we are losing control. We are completely separated business from IT departments. So all these things that are now happening in the entire role, I guess. For example, now I'm on the automotive. So the entire world started, waking up on the need of having the IT and the software much more closer to the business. So I became an Agile coach at that time. I started leading Agile Competence Center where we were serving the entire company, big company. We are talking about it's a holding with several companies, independent, but with IT was centralized in the mother of the company, let's say like that. And I think it was at the time the company has 12,000 employees already spread around the world, like Spain, Brazil, actually United States also, because of the green energy their sector, for example. So we started our transformation there, not started by me. It started like a pilot in 2014, and 2018 it became the reality that's it, that's what our company need. And it was so for me, it was in just 2 years I learned so much in terms of getting, for example, meetings with completely different levels. Like we are talking about the boards of the companies, right, where the big decisions are made.
Yeah.
So it was a completely different level of responsibilities, of knowledge, of growing, and that's where I felt that actually Scrum and Agile is actually doing lots of difference on every single business. There's no shit today. We know that there's no such thing as a company that is not relying on software, and the companies that does not have that software responding to the business needs, they will struggle a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And the companies that realize that, yes, we need to control our software to respond rapidly to our business needs, that they will win for sure. And it was, for me, it was a privilege to be there, leading lots of Agile coach. So Agile coach were placed into the companies, each company of the group, and supporting all the Scrum Masters, product owners. We were inspired by Les in terms of how to organize product teams. And every single team had a product owner dedicated, a co-located, completely dedicated Scrum team, and a Scrum Master. So it was a big transformation there, with lots of appraisals from the business that they actually start seeing some results of, hey, yes, this is it. Like in a very quick way, in 3-4 months, they were actually being able to see good results of responding on their needs. So I was I had this privilege, and that's where actually when I leave that company, that's where my mentoring part starts, because on this, on this jump between a Scrum Master where I was dedicated to a Scrum team, and then I was dedicated to a company, I not even realized how I was growing. And when I leave this company, a team member of my team that was there first as an intern, and then became a Scrum, my team member, especially dedicated to Jira, for example, she would start crying. She was very, very, overwhelmed and, feeling very attached to me. And I was not even realizing that. And that's where, that moment I say, hey, I'm not a newbie anymore. I'm not just a Scrum Master anymore. I'm now a role model to some people. And now I have so many knowledge, not only with software and Scrum, but also on, leading people, leading teams, and helping them to grow. And I thought, okay, this is not only opportunity, but more than that, a responsibility, because that's what leadership is about. It's about being responsible for helping others to grow, helping others to do their path and success on their path, right? At least that's my vision of what is actually leadership is about. Leadership is not about ourselves. Leadership is about how the people that you are leading. And that's my moment of, okay, now I'm a leader in terms of role model, in terms of helping others. And that's how I decided, okay, this is my turn to give back so many hands, so many help that I received along my career, with my mentors, with some line managers that helped me grow, that put me in different or give me different challenges, and that's how I realized that, okay, this is a good moment to me to assume and incorporate that leadership and role model, and then I started in after the COVID. Because of COVID, it was kind of a mess, right? So everybody was kind of, it was kind of 2 years of, what? So are we there? Can we go back to normal? So 2 years in suspension, right? Like, can we back to normal? And actually, when COVID started, being more control way, I started then doing my mentoring program. It's completely, it's not I don't have a program itself designed, but I'm willing to help other women, especially women, young women that wants to understand better. Today I'm doing in my pro bono time, I'm doing mentoring for 3 people. And on my company, I'm also doing, but this is part of the company culture, but I'm working now, I'm doing also mentoring there. And that's it, that's how, so this is, so big moments. I think everybody, I consider myself a lucky person that, have grabbed these great opportunities and take advantage of that lucky and tiny little moments that can change our life, can change our growth. And that's how I became now mentoring.
And you kind of already mentioned that this journey, and you're mentioning that you wanted to give something back, like mentoring and stuff like that. But I think you even, I believe you're doing even more. But I think what would be nice to mention this volunteering, because I know that you're doing that, and that's where I think again from my personal experiences, I grew again so much faster when I started to volunteer, and just from the small things, just joining and helping the those conference or unconference, whatever, organize this event by being there, by listening there. It's such a boost. I know what your experience with
exactly. So back again to the first Agile in Europe. So my mentor at that time, my Agile coach at that time, talked me about it and said she was one of the organizers of the Agile in Europe. I think at that time the community tried to have different people from different places. So she was one of the organizer of the first Agile in Berlin, and it was so impactful, especially for at that time with Portugal. I never felt empathic behavior with other people rather than Portuguese, especially because we are in very far away from the Central Europe. Even for transportations, for example, we still rely on planes. We don't have we are now having some constructions, but there's no very good way to come to Portugal by train, for example. And I know that really facilitates moving out regarding the Central Europe that is connected by trains, for example. That's one reason. And that moment was not only inspiring in terms of being a Scrum Master and embrace that journey, but also from a point of view of being European and being in the place that we have so many things in common in our culture, our way of living, our values, what we defend. And because of that, I was so inspired that I promised myself that we need this in Portugal for sure. And I was inspired at that time. Through the years, I was not attending. At least I think I missed 5 or so Agile in Euros. I was there. I was also in Barcelona, but then I was not attending, but always trying to be connected with the community online through LinkedIn. There's the Slack also. And then I came along in Zurich edition 2018 with a mission. And my mission was definitely, I want to organize Agile in Europe in Portugal. We choose Porto because of the community. And the reason was to bring this spirit where we learn so much, where we can share different visions and, be more open about different perspectives of seeing things. And that's how I started organizing, and I organized the Agile in Europe in Porto, because again, this is a community completely 100% volunteer, organizing it every single year, no boards, no managers, no money involved. Of course, there is a budget, but it's non-profit. The budget is always to organize the next edition, so no one is taking profits of it. So again, another amazing moment of being inspired of how a community, when we are volunteering, as you are saying, when we are volunteering, we grow so much because people are really, you don't feel that, okay, that person is doing that because she's being paid, she is being paid. No, you feel that that person is doing because the joy of sharing. And that's what motivated me to be so attached to this beautiful community, to co-organize it with a team of 10. I was able to connect with lots of people here in the Agile communities in Portugal, and we were a team of 10, and it was really a good moment.
Cool. And again, when we discuss, the time really flies. So
Yes.
we'll be here like for
I talk a lot.
around like half an hour.
You need to stop me.
But that's good. Maybe you have the last words or some suggestions for people who may be still deciding, do I want to step this, step to become a Scrum Master, or maybe someone are Scrum Master? What you would suggest to those people?
I would say, I think it's applicable to every single professions or roles. For a Scrum Master, you need to be willing to learn every day. So every day, a Scrum Master need to find new ways of doing the retrospective, to learn more techniques, to learn the facilitation, to learn how to deal with people, to learn how to deal with, how a team is growing, to know how to identify pains, etc. So it's fundamental. Scrum Mastering is first a role of learning every day, every single day. You need to learn. And second, after you quite understand the Scrum framework, because you as a Scrum Master, especially when we are starting, and it applies to every role in a Scrum team, even for product owners and developers. But after we understand why the Scrum framework has that elements, then it's kind of incorporated. So it's nobody question anymore. Why do we have a planning? Why? So when we stop that, why do we need a daily? When we stop that pattern, that it's always happening at every single team that I work with, when we overcome that pattern of questioning the framework, then please, especially Scrum Masters, focus on people. Because there's no such thing of technical problems that are, problematic. That there's no such thing. The technical part is always the easiest one. The most painful is always people. So a Scrum Master first, after training the team to incorporate the Scrum framework on this basic part of what everything in the Scrum framework means to and what they are for, then focus on people and people problems.
Oh yeah. And if there are like some opportunity, take it. It can lead to really good things.
For sure. And when this applies to everyone, when we feel that we are not learning anymore, move on. We are not trees, right?
Yeah.
We have apply that 2 feet of the unconference, right? The open space technology, the 2 feet law, or at least the mobility law. That if we don't feel that we are learning, then we should move on. We should try to, even in the same company. There are lots of companies when opportunity in the same company when they have a very good size that have different departments and opportunities. So yeah. That's it. Yeah, for sure.
That's a great, ending for our discussion. So thank you, Sonia. Thank you, listeners, and till next time.
Yes, till next time. Thank you. Thank you so much.